Guys, had a comment on my last video about tools and dish guy stuff, and I asked for there was a request for a tour of the van. One thing I like to do is I try and pack as much stuff as possible in here, because then you don't have to run by the shop, which is, you know, like 45 minutes from my house to get stuff. So the one thing that I forgot to load up was a non-penetrating mount. It's like a metal frame that you can mount a mast onto. Everything else is good, but we use 6 different kinds of cable. The orange cable is rated to be buried underground, about 3 inches, 3 to 6 inches. You can bury this underground. You'll notice that there's 2 here, single there, and then there's a smaller wire that runs along the side that's for grounding. It's called the messenger wire. Some houses have white cabling inside, and or they prefer white cabling if they have like a wall plate and it goes to their receiver. Yeah, so you get that. We use a lot of the single black in the house, especially when we're running stuff under the house. You don't see it, or on the outside of the house. It just seems to hold up better than the white. This is, I don't know why, but this just seems to be rated better for the sun. And then if we're not burying the cable, it's just coming down from the dish somewhere. We've got the single with the messenger wire and dual with the messenger wire. Carry poles for doing pole mounts instead of mounting in the house. Sometimes you just have to get further away from the tree line than the house is to be able to shoot over the trees. So I got concrete. The cinder blocks are for the non-pen mount. I just totally spaced and rolled out without it yesterday. They gave me a bucket when I got all my tools from Dish, which I'm paying for, one little bite at a time. And so they gave me a bucket, and these buckets are like $5, so probably use it for trash collection. You can see my sweeps down there, post hole digger, shovel, and big blue pry bar. And then you can see that I got all my dish parts where I can get at them. All the arms for the LMBFs, which is basically a feed horn that gets the signal off the reflector dish. All the masts for mounting, all the LMBFs underneath it. So all that stuff's congregated, along with the yokes still in their box, so they're not flopping around everywhere. On this side I've got what they call the VIP receivers, which are the older style that use a triplexer on the back. Underneath that are my RAs, my return units. I'll probably end up putting those on the floor as I get more and more of them, because we're migrating from standard def to high def, so we're changing out a whole lot of receivers. So we put in new HD stuff and took out old SD stuff, and we put them in the boxes. Then we go around the side. So I sort of have different zones that I work on. And so you got to have booties, because you're always getting dirty and muddy going under the house, and then you got to go back in the house, and you can't create any damage. You can't be tracking dirt in people's houses. It's ridiculous. You just slip on some booties. Up there I have some extremely long mast arms in case I have to get more clearance for some reason. There's my receivers, my HD receivers are all in here. So I've got a bunch of what they call hoppers, which are the DVRs, which are the brains. They're like a little computer. And then they have the joeys, which basically talk to the hopper and can get all the features of the hopper without having to have a giant box. They're relatively small. There's wireless joeys. There's joeys that work with their latest hopper, which has 16 tuners, the Hopper 3, and then there's the hopper with sling, which will host your DVR features and services for any mobile device that you've got, phone, tablet, whatever, laptop. So no matter where you are, you can get your TV programming as it's timed, and you can adjust and do everything to your hopper from a distance, which is kind of an interesting feature. If you're into TV in a big way, that would be a really cool thing to have. And then the Super Joey adds 2 tuners. If somebody has like a regular hopper that has 3 tuners, then they can get 2 more tuners by adding a Super Joey. What else? That's about it there. Here's the reflectors, the actual dish components. I like to keep them protected because they're delicate. They're thin metal. If they have a slight imperfection or a slight ripple or bend to them, it gets very hard to find the satellite signal. This area is kept open as much as possible because it's been raining like all the time. So this is a good place to prepare a dish. You know, hop inside here, build the dish. So to build a dish, obviously you need nut and bolt kit, which I keep in here with all my other stuff. So if we're going on top of a roof, asphalt shingle roof, we've got pitch patch so it doesn't leak, it doesn't make holes. You get a really old TV, you might need an RF modulator because it might not pick up channel 60 or channel 73. All kinds of weird stuff in here. RG59 connectors, which you rarely use. Electrical tape, which I would rarely use. Grounding wire, which is part of NEC code. Got to ground every dish system to an official ground. All kinds of hubs and, you know, diplexers and splitters and integrators and taps so I can split out my signal. So this is kind of the bag of stuff that I would have to rummage through depending on what exactly I'm installing. That's like electronical type stuff, mainly electrical stuff. Here's all the smalls. Again, a lot more splitters and diplexers. Got to have ground blocks on every system. You go from the dish to a ground block. You attach that little wire that's along the side of the cable, messenger wire to there. You attach the green wire from there to an official ground source no more than 20 feet away. Obviously you're going to have all kinds of things to be able to ground to. If you see a water pipe coming up out of the ground, not a gas line, water pipe, that's cool. Electrical box, corner clamps for electrical boxes, side clamps for electrical boxes, more pipe clamps for clamping to metal frames underneath trailers. Some old homes, you know, they don't have a whole lot of outlets. May have already overloaded their outlet. They don't want to buy a surge protector. Sometimes we have to split out an outlet. A lot of the really old homes do not have a properly grounded outlet. We got to put one of them in. Some homes, they don't allow penetrations. It's perhaps a rental apartment, something like that. Trailer home, mobile home, even an RV. We've had some, we had to do an installation on an RV that was at a trailer park. And this is how you get through a thin place with a flat cable. They're kind of fragile. You know, they don't last forever. So, and of course lots of connectors. And on this side, more connectors and barrels and lag shields, lags. We use lags all the time. Bushings, use these all the time. So every time you're going through a wall, you make a penetration with cable, you put silicone all around this and you go through the hole to protect the cable from chafing and to seal the hole. Pretty obvious what all this stuff is. Okay, so yeah, stuff you need. The smalls. That's the smalls box. That's the everything else bag. And then I like to keep my tools segregated in the front because when you're driving on some of these windy, bumpy mountain roads, or you're going up a trail to somebody's house way up on a mountain, your stuff's going to get jostled everywhere. So I try to keep everything pretty well sorted. I've already gone through my pouch here, guys. You've seen this. You know what this is all about. A lot of stuff in here. A couple of flashlights and my mapper kit and a ton of cable ties. That's just how I carry all those cable ties. I use them all the time, so I've got to have them. The wrenches I use all the time. Okay. Oh yeah, gotta remember to drop this in. This is my 7/16. Need that. What else have I got hiding here? Yeah, you know, to make use of, probably use a pocket knife. Sharpie. Yeah, those are things I just happen to have in my pocket. Okay, so that's that. Then what that's doing there. In the door, Hornet spray, first aid kit, silicone, more cable ties on this side. This is where I would come to get my tools before I go in the house. So my bag's right up here so I can slap it on. Then if I come back, I need to drill some holes, or I need to put in some wags or clips or something where I need my power tools, or I need to find a stud or whatever. This is all the drilling stuff, all the bits, drills. And I keep that down there on the floor because it's pretty heavy. Jumps around. If I need to get underneath a house, I like to wear knee pads and gloves because it's weird down there, and there's no sense in getting totally filthy. So if I can take most of the filth onto here. I got cables so I can charge or connect my meter to the computer to update it. I do not have pliers. I don't usually have to use them. Same with that. I don't usually have to use it. Don't usually have to use a hammer or a frickin' tape measure. A lot of more ratchet bits in here. I don't use them, so I don't carry them. So this can all stay down on the floor. Not sure I'll be able to do that one-handed. I'll have to zip that up later. It goes down on the floor. And the main reason for keeping it down on the floor, guys, is because I go into a lot of sketchy neighborhoods. So when somebody looks inside the van, I don't want to see this huge pile of tools like, wow, wouldn't it be easy just to smash that window and grab that shit and run off. So don't want that. So I keep it down out of sight as best as possible, because you're not always out in the country with, nobody around. Sometimes you're right in the middle of the city doing an apartment building or something. On this side, driver accommodations, things I need every time I go in the house. Got to have my CSAT card, channel guide, all that good stuff. Every time I go in the house, I'm going to probably be taking my meter, and I'm going to be taking my what they call smart home services bucket. We got surge protectors, remote covers, screen cleaners, various grades and lengths of HDMI cabling, Bluetooth headphones, stuff like that. Got more surge protectors over there. That thing that's in the black case, it's called a soundbar. It's made by Polk. It's awesome. 150 watt Dolby 5.1 soundbar that you can add a subwoofer to. I've got my TV mounts, my wall mounts. I've got a flex mount. I've got a medium flex mount, a small flex mount. I got a medium and a small tilt mount. And I keep them over there to keep them from getting banged up and beat up, because these are things that you have to sell to the customer. And if you bring in something that looks like it's been trashed, I had bags of concrete opened on it and flopped around and stepped on and sunburnt. It's just ridiculous. So I try to keep these out of sight too by throwing my sweat towel. Very important thing right now. So it doesn't look like I got a whole bunch of really expensive stuff in my van, This is where I keep my rain jacket, my food. And then of course you see I've got lots of bottles of water, charger for the phone, charger for the meter. And that's almost it for it. The last thing to look at is just gotta have ladder racks that you can lock. I usually don't bother locking them because I live up here on a mountain where nobody's gonna snatch my ladder. But if I had to leave my van somewhere, I'd need to lock it. Yeah, they look pretty rough. It's because I had to steal that one off another van and reverse it and flip it around, take it all apart, put it back together. So you see all the scratch marks along the side. It's because it used to be a right-hand side ladder rail. Everybody seems to be missing left-hand side ladder rails. I'm not sure what's up. All the spare trucks have already been robbed. So this is what it should look like. You wouldn't really see any scratches along the side. So I'm thinking of maybe touching that up some white paint. That's about it, Got to have your ladders. I really need my non-pen mount. I'll get that. If I get lucky, I won't have to use one until I go for replenishment on Friday, a few days from now. And that's it for a tour of a typical well-stocked dish van. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting the Mountain Storm channel. I appreciate your interest in my new line of work. I continue working in my shop, so if you need anything, you can contact me at rw_keeton@yahoo.com. hook you up.